in women's team gymnastics, but that was followed by 6th place finishes at the 2 ensuing World Championships and no individual medalists. Bela Karolyi was brought out of retirement to revive the program. His title is National Team Coordinator. The favored nations are the perennial powers, Russia and Romania. Tonight's competition is the qualifying phase for the team, individual all-around, and apparatus finals. At the Superdome, Al Troutwig, Elfie Schlegel, Tim Daggett.
Representing the United States of America, Shannon Miller.
Behind Shannon Miller, all her gymnastics life was Peggy Liddick. But 3 years ago, Peggy Liddick took her coaching to Australia. Now she wants to defeat what she helped create. The Russian team never lost when they've competed. Until they hit U.S. soil in 1996. When gymnastics is what makes you famous, a silver or bronze medal for a Romanian is failure. Years ago, the United States was the best in the world, and Bela Karolyi was there. He was the man who built Romanian gymnastics from scratch and then helped create an American legend. As the leader of this newly formed American team, can Bela Karolyi help these young women find what they have inside them to be great? As the United States team takes the floor here at the Superdome, they are a team beset with problems. Let's start with their health. Before the games begin, they lose Morgan White to a broken foot. 2 days ago, in the first touch of the apparatus, Jamie Dancher badly rolls her ankle.
Yeah, and she was told, based on yesterday's performance in the practice session, that she was iffy for bars and floor exercise today, and she was definitely off the balance beam. I think that's a huge score that Jamie Dancher could have put up for this team.
They've got veteran leadership. They've got a Dominique Dawes. They've got an Amy Chow, but they've also got a 15-year-old Tasha Schweikert right there who will start things off for the United States. How will they use Jamie Dancher?
Well, certainly she has the ability to be one of the premier performers for the USA on floor exercise. She also is great on bars. Both of those events, she should make the lineup today.
Alyssa Beckerman got the bad news when Morgan White went out. It wasn't going to be her joining the team as the alternate. It would be the 15-year-old Tasha Schweikert, and she will be the very first performer today. And Bela Karolyi has called the first performance of the Olympic Games the most critical. You fall, well, then you affect the rest of the team, and we've seen that in past years with China. But if you can hit it, you can give everybody else a sense of belief.
And it's amazing to think that he is going to rely on a 15-year-old Tasha Schweikert, who has never been in a big-time event like the World Championships or the Olympic Games. She is going to set the tone for this team on beam. That's a big position to be in.
So how will Bela Karolyi exert his huge personality on this team? Well, not on the floor, outside the ring, as it's called, as he has in past Olympics. This time, only 2 accredited coaches are allowed on the floor. Steve Rybacki and Kelly Hill will do that job. As national team coordinator, Bela Karolyi will watch from the seats, and so we won't see that fabulous interaction as we have with Kerri Strug or Mary Lou Retton. Not this time, not in Sydney. Jamie Dancher, as I mentioned, coached by Steve Rybacki, so he's eligible. Donna Strauss, not picked to coach the team. She coaches Kristen Maloney. Cassie Rice coaches Tasha Schweikert. They are both on edge to see how their gymnasts will be able to contribute to the U.S. cause here as these Olympic Games begin for USA Gymnastics. And what an unbelievable spot to put 15-year-old Tasha Schweikert from Las Vegas, Nevada in to start things off.
And you know, her coach, Cassie Rice, said to me, ever since Tasha was a little girl, she has loved to have a lot of people watching her. She gets her chance today, that's for sure. Six gymnasts on each team. 5 athletes from those 6 compete on each event, and the top 4 scores count for each team.
If you were with us for the Olympic trials and you're watching Tasha Schweikert in the Olympics, you have to be surprised because her name was not one that was mentioned that night in Boston. No, she was added by Bella Caroli as a second alternate after that. The alternates were not ranked, and that's why Bella was able to choose in his mind between Alyssa Beckerman and Tasha Schweikert.
And since day one, in speaking with Bella about who he thought would be on that team way back in January, Tasha Schweikert's name was always near the top of his list. Had some injuries, but he never gave up hope on this little girl.
Tim, she's got 2 extra people to perform in front of today. Mom and Dad, who found out at the last minute their daughter was in the Olympics. Their casino co-workers chipped in to help raise some money, and then USA Gymnastics picked up one of their tickets and the hotel room.
With just the dismount left, I'd have to say that this is the kind of performance that Bella was looking for to start off this team.
Great start from Tasha Schweikert. Gets Team USA going. Biggest meet of her life. She'll take that one. So will the team.
There's Coach Kelly Hill, and she'll be working with Steve Rybacki there and coaching this United States team on this all-important day. Success today, and your Olympics continues. Meanwhile, the Chinese team were a disappointing 5th in Atlanta. Kui Yuan was there. Her response to that disappointment when we come back. Tasha Schweikert's score on the balance beam, 9.237.
Yeah, I think the routine had some small errors, we have to remember, but that is a good score for Tasha.
And Bella, he looks a little bit frustrated, probably wishes he was on the floor, even though if he was, couldn't really do all that much about that one.
First look at the Chinese team. Kui Yuan. We mentioned she was in Atlanta. The team finished 5th. Last year, a bad knee injury forced her to withdraw from the World Championships. When NBC visited her in Beijing in July, she said, look, I will not be in Sydney. My knee is hurting too bad. Here she is.
This is her specialty, the floor exercise. She was a world champion in '96, but I have to tell you, I never saw her do a full set in any of these practices.
Very close to maybe going out of bounds there. The line is in gymnastics. If you step past it, a 1/10 of a point deduction.
Kui Yuan has been a member of the national team representing China for over 6 years, and with the money she's made and performances that she's successfully performed, Dad has purchased a taxi cab. That is the Kui family business. The United States expects solid performances today from Dominique Dawes, making her 3rd Olympics appearance. However, Elfie and Tim, in warm-ups on the balance beam, she was all over the place.
Yeah, she was very shaky, but we have to remember one of the reasons why Dominique is on her 3rd Olympic Games team is the balance beam. At the Olympic trials, she absolutely impressed Bella Caroli.
And her coach, Kelly Hill, said, you know, this is the 3rd time around. Supposed to get a little bit easier. What the heck's going on? Kelly Hill also told me that Dominique sometimes needs a bit of a problem to kind of get her going.
Whoa.
Hangs on to that.
Looking just a little bit tentative, and one of the places that she had some problems in the warm-up was coming up right here. Combination.
Oh, wow. Not even close. Every time you fall off the beam or any apparatus, 5/10 deduction, that means that all scores after this need to count. Tasha's score, first up out of the blocks, should count at this point, will count at this point.
And you know what's unbelievable about this, guys? Bella Caroli, in talking about Dominique Dawes a couple of days ago, said she was the one when things were tough, whether it was Austin right before they came to Sydney and the team didn't like the equipment. She went in there and nailed the routine and then nailed another one. And this is how her Olympics begins in the year 2000.
So terrible when you have a fall early on in the rotation.
Stay strong with you. Gotta be aggressive.
Puts a lot of pressure on the remaining 3 athletes.
Take a look at the combination. Wolf jump into a punch front. You can see right there she was way off. Not even a hope of saving that skill.
Bella says inconsistency has been the mark of Dominique Dawes' career, yet those recent performances almost saw him using her in the leadoff spot. 8.6. The United States can only hope that they throw that out and use Tasha Schweikert and all the rest of the scores on the beam. Kui Yuan 955 on floor exercise.
The Chinese have always been criticized for their selection of music and their choreography, and they've really been trying to focus on this event and to make some improvements. They brought in choreographers from ballet companies in China to help on this event, and it certainly helped Kui score.
Elfie, when we went to join the United States team the other day at the women's college in suburban Sydney that they were sequestered in, not in the Olympic Village, and the only team not to do that, what did you think of Amy Chow on the balance beam?
Amy Chow has been on. I was watching her routine. She must have performed 5, 6, 7 balance beam routines. They were rock solid. She has really been doing her job here in all the practices.
And Amy has a skill, I believe, the only one being performed at these Olympic Games, a standing back with a full in the pike position right here. Super difficult.
Oh, she's been so consistent on this skill this year. This is really a chance for Amy Chow to shine in this competition. Back in 1996, she only competed on 2 events for the U.S. on vault and bars. Here, she's planning to do the all-around.
Al, you mentioned only 2 coaches on the floor, but all of the coaches of these athletes are in the gym every day. Her coach, Mark Young, at the center of much of the controversy, hasn't agreed with a lot of the philosophies, a lot of the workouts that Bella Caroli has put up. But Amy Chow, she's an Olympic gold and silver medalist. He feels that his knowledge and getting her there in the first place mean enough that he ought to be able to do it again this time.
It's a great set.
Great set, lot of difficult. Right at the end, that triple full didn't quite get that all the way around.
Here's the dismount combination. Watch the triple full. As Tim said, she doesn't quite get it all the way around. If the judges want to take a little deduction, they're going to take it there.
It opens the door right there.
All right, let's check on the deductions, and the score for Amy Chow is a 9.625. That is up there, and the United States needed it. All the routines that are still to come on the balance beam are critical for the United States because they'll count. At last year's World Championships, Deng Faoxiao was the highest finishing Chinese gymnast in the all-around. How much does she want to have a successful Olympics? Well, consider what she's given up to get here in Sydney, Australia. This is the sacrifice of Deng Faoxiao's life. It's mom and dad. waiting to squeeze 6 months into a day. They gave their baby girl to gymnastics, gave away those precious years to China.
I was so sad. I cried while I hugged her. I begged her not to go, but the coach pulled me away and Mom left.
One time I told her she'd better not cry when I leave. She has to say goodbye with a smile, or Mom won't come to visit anymore. And that was the time that I cried the most. Because after I said that, she managed to squeeze out a smile with tears still falling down her cheeks. She said, "Bye-bye, Mommy," and I couldn't stop crying.
Away went Dong Faoxiao, and the coaches pushed to find her limit. It's the only way they feel to find out who can take it and who can't. Dong Faoxiao was one of the jewels and was selected to the national team. Beijing is 5 hours away. So now, twice a year, an anxious meeting like this one takes place. For one short day, they were a family again. Then it was done, and the Dongs returned to being a photograph and a letter from Faoxiao. Soon, their Olympian will come home. Question is, what kind of souvenir will she come home with?
You know, Al, the Chinese team has always looked for individual apparatus finalists on the balance beam or the uneven bars. Well, this young lady is fantastic on floor exercise. She could find herself in the finals on the floor.
How about this, the Chinese getting the crowd going with their floor exercise?
Very quick tumbler. energy, a lot of spring, a lot of tumbling in that exercise. As Elfie mentioned, she was chosen for the national team basically because of her legs, the power in her legs for floor exercise and vaulting.
Very good floor exercise so far for the Chinese. Now let's go to Elise Ray. She is expected to be the rock for the United States team. She has come on so strong. The current national champion, 18 from Columbia, Maryland. She'll be heading to Michigan when these Olympic Games are over.
And she is anchoring this team, and I really believe that this is a position that Elise has earned. With her performances this year at the national championships and the Olympic trials, she deserves to be last.
But you know what they say, Elfie, deserves got nothing to do with it. She's got to stay on a 4-inch wide balance beam through all this craziness. Beautiful double turn.
This is an apparatus where Elise Ray would really want to get to the individual event finals. She's good enough at it, and to do that, she's got to be top 8.
Solid. She's just been a picture of calm. Just the dismount. That's a great exercise.
So the United States continues to pick up for Dominique Dawes in her sub-9 score. Of course, the United States and China have the same problem everybody else has, and that's Russia and Romania just happen to be here, and they'll be showing us their stuff a little bit later.
And another top team, Australia, will march out in just a few seconds onto the floor, and I firmly believe that if a team doesn't either place first or second in the first session, they will not advance. Too many powerful teams coming up later in the competition.
They could be going to the individual event finals on balance beam. Meanwhile, they are the home team. They have the first rotation off. Here comes Australia. 3 years ago, American Peggy Liddick came down under to put this show on at these games for Australia. Home podium advantage or heavy weight to bear. Their turn is next. Like everyone else, nothing is guaranteed for the Australians. They must finish top 6 to advance to the team finals here at the 2000 Sydney Olympic Games. Alana Slater is one of their best gymnasts, and she is on the vault.
Yeah, and this is unfortunately not a strong event for Alana. Oh. And that hurts this team. You have to remember, 2 vaults, they're averaged.
Just really not a super powerful vaulter, just doesn't have enough to get it around. Big deduction, big form in the air. Look at the bent knees, the scrounging around, putting your hands down. That is not even remotely a good start for this Australian team.
I'll tell you what, it's not Peggy Liddick's dream. I'll tell you that. Now, this is the team that put the squeeze on the United States when they finished ahead of the U.S. at the World Championships last year.
This vault is not easy for her. Oh, holy
gosh.
Wow.
It got worse.
Yeah, she kicked her feet on the horse.
Flipped the horse as she was going over.
Oh, that was scary.
You know, you got to have enough rotation to get this vault around, but she doesn't really have the power, so she's driving her heels over her head so hard.
Tim, this vault is clearly too hard for her.
That's dangerous.
Nightmarish beginning for Australia. Alana Slater averages out to just under an 8.3. The Aussies can only hope that's the score they throw out. Now, after not competing on balance beam, here's Jamie Dancher. Remember, just 2 days ago, she looked like she badly did something to her ankle. Today, it's not even taped.
Yeah, it's not even affecting her. In the warm-up just prior to this routine, she was very bouncy in her tumbling. Not a problem.
Biggest test of the ankle will come in the first tumbling pass, where she'll do a double layout, change direction, do a punch front, a lot of pressure on that foot.
Wow. Oh! So many of these athletes have struggled on the tumbling. She had way too much rotation.
This is an exercise we've seen so many times from Jamie Dancher. We've seen her execute it almost flawlessly.
Walking through the training halls this week before the games, every person you ran into, coaches, athletes, trainers, one complaint on their mind: the floor exercise. The women said very slippery and really hard, pounding and punishing on the body.
To get ready for these games, the United States bought replicas of all this Australian equipment to have in the gym at the college where they trained here this past week.
One of her coaches, Beth Rybecki, up in the stands. An Olympian in 1980, never got to make the trip because of the boycott. Her other coach, one of the Olympic coaches on the floor, Beth's husband, Steve Rybecki.
This day is all about somehow surviving and moving on to the next round in the Olympic Games, in the team competition or the all-around or the individual event final. This is crucial now for Australia, not to let what happened to Alana Slater turn into a trend.
Oh, this is bad news.
Wow.
This is not a vaulting team.
Yeah.
And again, a vault that I think is clearly much too difficult for her.
So you don't think these are nervous mistakes?
Well, a little bit. I think some of it is nerves, no question about it. That one right there, more nerves. She can actually maybe grind this one around.
But also on podium training, the coaches were spotting these vaults. I saw very few that they did on their own.
You don't see too many sevens at the Olympic Games. But see, she can do this vault.
They had the crowd when they came into the Sydney Dome. They lost it for a moment. If they could get it back, who knows how it could elevate this team.
What's important in this vault is that she has to maintain a stretched, laid-out position. She pikes that down.
Did you see how close her head came to the vault?
Not enough power to do the vault really well, no question about it, but to get it to her feet, yeah, she's capable of doing that.
Certainly a lot's been invested by Peggy Liddick. 3 years of her life. She wants to show she's got the touch. It's off to a rough beginning.
Okay, out at the Superdome, the U.S. women's gymnastics team is through balance beam and next takes the floor. As mentioned, tonight is the qualifying competition, not only for the team, but also for the all-around and event finals. Perhaps America's best hope for an individual medal here is 18-year-old Elise Ray. At last year's World Championships, her major international debut, or debut as they say here down under, she was one of the few positives for the U.S. team, finishing 8th in the all-around. And she backed that up in July with her first national title.
You know, I wish I could capture that moment like in a bottle. I wanted it so bad, but, you know, there were times where I was almost scared to believe I actually could.
That sealed your 2000 U.S. national champion.
That was amazing, that whole moment. I hardly remember anything but my feet landing on the mat.
These women will represent the United States of America. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Elise Ray.
That was just an incredible feeling. I reached my goal, and it was so much more than I ever thought it would
be. She's always had a tiger inside. You can definitely see the fire in the eyes.
not intimidated by taking the leadership role. I'm not scared to do it.
You can't have enough leaders in a battle like this, an all-or-nothing day when either you advance or you do not. Elise Ray about to do something she's very good at, floor exercise.
Yeah, this is what's called the total package, artistry, athleticism, and Bella Crowley knows that she could post a high score. She's earned the right, once again, like she did on balance beam, to go up last for the U.S.
By 3 feet.
Thing about it, no matter how far you go out, still it's only a 1/10 of a point. But as I mentioned earlier, most of the athletes complaining about the floor had to go a little bit too hard. When you do that, sometimes you travel a little bit too far off of the floor.
Wait a minute, this was supposed to be a U.S. strength. Jamie Dancher had a big mistake, and Elise Ray does something we've never seen her do.
Now, these are not the kind of routines that you want if you want to advance, and certainly not what they'll need to win a bronze medal. No way.
Beautiful set from Elise Ray, but you have to remember those 10ths of a point, they add up in team situations.
Did you hear that?
You can tell something about Dr. Debbie. In what?
She said my shoulder popped out.
On this one here?
Well,
This is potentially devastating for a team that has already absorbed a broken foot, losing Morgan White, Jamie Dancher in and out of the lineup.
Showed really no signs of this at all.
I was just going to say, completed 3 very strong tumbling passes. But right there, her left arm, she doesn't quite lift it as high as her right.
Well, she's not showing any pain on her face. She's obviously moving both shoulders around,
which is a very good sign.
This needs the attention of the national team coordinator. Bella Crowley has been given a signal to get to the floor. He's got to go up first. That is Dr. Mike Burns, who is examining the shoulder of Elise Ray. She gets a 9.225 on the floor exercise.
Very
Obviously,
disappointing.
She gutted it out, but the vibe right now for the United States is not a good one. Here at the Sydney Dome, this is what we know. After completing a floor exercise performance that had an error that we have never seen from Elise Ray, she said to Coach Kelly Hill, it popped out. She was talking about her left shoulder. She has been examined. Obviously, it's still a concern. Bella Crowley has been summoned down to the ring and is talking things over with Kelly Hill. Obviously, this is potentially devastating to the United States team. It would be like losing the anchor on your relay team. Sure, could you run the race? But would you do so with the same speed? No, nor with the same kick. Let's go back to the Chinese team now. They're on the vault. This is Kui Yuan, who was so elegant on floor exercise.
And actually, their first vaulter, Lu Xuan, struggled. She fell on her first vault. She was very sloppy on her second. They're counting on a big score. Barely saw her do any in practice. This will be a surprise.
Gets that around. Really didn't have quite enough rotation, but just slaps her feet to the ground and stands that one up.
This is a big-time vault. It's worth a 9.9. That's the maximum value. It's a double twisting Yurchenko.
And it's amazing she's here and competing on floor and vaulting. Remember, we didn't even think she'd make the team, was too beat up physically.
She gets a 9.5 on the first vault. She's having a good day one of the Olympics.
Remember, one more vault, they're averaged.
Oh, wow. Way short on that landing.
And something's not right with the right knee. Bad injury for the Americans, and maybe one here for the Chinese. Her body language says something moved out of position.
Great first of all, but just nowhere near enough rotation on the second one. Doesn't get it all. Oh.
Yeah, that's not pretty.
Obviously bad for Qui Yan, but from a team perspective, this could be devastating for China. As Elfie mentioned, Lu Xuan on her first vault also took a bit of a spill. Once again, nowhere near the push off the horse she needs.
Doesn't even complete the twist.
Sits down, big deduction.
And from that deduction against the captain of the Chinese team, things have gotten obviously worse. The Olympics move on, and to the Australians we go. It'll take some toughness to rebound from those rough two vaults in the beginning for Alana Slater. But toughness is something that she has always exhibited. That plus a tremendously strong bond with her mom. Her story exhibits that toughness beyond anything you might expect.
There's not many young athletes out there who are as determined as she is. She wants to be the dual Olympian. She wants to be the country's best gymnast. It's quite brash, almost arrogant from an Australian point of view. She would love to be a household name.
It's bad, you know.
When I'm competing, it's great fun when I'm competing. I find it real adrenaline rush. I don't know, you just get on a high. Becoming the national champion in the Olympic year has been really important to me, and I think it really has given my confidence a big boost.
She's going for the double-double. Wow, first girl in Australia to do that.
Oh, well done, Alana Slater.
It's different than most teenagers. I haven't really had a outside life. You don't know another life. That is your life. Gymnastics is your life.
Alana's start to life was a pretty tough start. She had to have an emergency birth. Then she had sudden infant death syndrome, which is where her heart used to stop between 10 and 15 times a day. I always knew she was a kid that had a lot to dig deep to be able to push herself through. But when she lost her dad, there was a side of her that I really had never guessed at, the strength of character that she had.
In the Far East tonight, searchers are going over the debris of an airline crash that killed 234 people yesterday in Indonesia.
They still hadn't hit us yet that my father had been killed because we didn't know any details about the accident.
No one survived this crash, including the one Australian aboard the Garuda Airbus, 45-year-old Clive Slater.
I know I'll never forget telling her, because she just screamed, and I'll probably never forget the sound of that scream. Alana and I were actually in Colorado Springs in the USA at the time. She was competing in her very first international competition. I was just going to stay at home and let her have this experience by herself. What's so incredibly weird is that Clive was really insistent that I went. And I think thank God that I was there, because, you know, even though it's hard to be in a hotel room by myself, to get a phone call to say he died, I'm sure that was obviously very hard. But you know, if I hadn't have been there to be with her when she found out, that would have been 100 times harder.
Sort of feel that he's with me all the time, just looking over me. Although he's not here in person, he's still here spiritually with us. Even when I'm competing, I can feel he's helping me through the competition. My mum also can notice that I look more relaxed, and she thinks she's okay, her dad's with her.
All I can think to say is that Alana Slater is deserving of as many great days for the rest of her life to make up for that one. Here she is in the Olympic Games with an Australian team that's trying to advance to the team finals, herself to the all-around finals. If she's top 36, she's on the uneven bars.
Yeah, Alana struggled on the vault. Remember, she had 2 falls, but this is really her forte, the uneven bars. She shows beautiful lines and big skills.
Nice combination coming up right here. Beautiful form. Stick it, she could make finals. Excellent routine, but that big step on the landing, I think that could keep her out of the finals. Too bad.
And that's the harshness of it, isn't it? I mean, one step is the difference.
The Olympic Games.
When you're at this level of the sport, at this competition, that's costly.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the third apparatus rotation.
So that concludes the third rotation. Remember, big score there for Slater, 9.675. The Russians, the Romanians are still to come. Plus, Jamie Dancher and the United States move on to the vault. Will their performances there include Elise Ray, who just injured her shoulder? Bella Caroli has checked in with Kelly Hill. He's on his way back upstairs. Our coverage continues in a moment. Our first session continuing here at the Superdome in Sydney. Bella Caroli back in his seat. He has heard what the doctors and Kelly Hill have said about Elise Ray. So far, and this is really just a guide, China leads the United States and Australia, but we still have not seen in the sessions to come Romania, Russia, Spain, Ukraine. Top 36 individually go to the all-around. Top 8 go to the event finals, and the top 6 to the team finals. Now here is Jamie Dancher for the United States. She is on the vault after a mistake on the floor exercise in which she is normally solid. Again, she is performing with a bad ankle, injured just 2 days ago.
Yeah, and the ankle really wasn't a problem on the floor exercise. Shouldn't be a problem here.
Representing France.
Really nice ball, just that hop forward.
Yeah, in team competition, you need to try to stick those landings, get every 10th out of those judges.
Nice form in the air, good block off of the horse, but as Elfie mentioned, every 10th, it counts. That one right there, that's at least 1, maybe even 2.
Jamie's helped create quite a story here. Her coaches, Steve and Beth Rybacki, probably for 3 years thought they were going to the Olympic Games with a gymnast by the name of Vanessa Atler, whose struggles led to their relationship ending, and then they reunited with Jamie Dancher, who they had coached for quite some time, and now here they are in the Olympic Games. And Beth was so happy for Steve because he was put on to coach the Olympic team when Mary Lee Tracy left when Morgan White broke her foot. So it's a complicated story that worked out great for the Rybackis.
Same second vault. Fell short of that one.
First one a little bit over, that one a little bit under.
typical for power stage. You know what I mean?
Absolutely no signs that that ankle is bothering her.
Oh, the recovery time when you're young.
Same second vault. You're allowed to perform the same vault in the team competition. There's the 1.5 twist. Makes it difficult because it's a blind landing. Underestimated that one.
Maybe not quite as good of a bounce off of the horse as on the first one.
So Jamie gets a 9.25 to average out to a 9.325. Back to the Chinese, and they need some good news.
And I saw Ling Jia about 4 years ago when she was a little girl do uneven bars at a junior competition. And I predicted then that she would be, if she made the team for China, Olympic champion on this event. She pushed the envelope. She does things so well, so hard, so effortlessly. Not enough adjectives for this young lady on uneven bars. Just total body extension. Look at the flight.
Beautiful form. You know, her goal at this competition is to beat the world champion Svetlana Horkina. She knows that's the athlete to beat.
And that's not going to be easy because Horkina is fantastic on uneven bars, but this kind of gymnastics is what made me fall in love with the sport.
I think the Chinese are about to get some good news. Go back now to the Australians. On the beam is Lisa Skinner, the only returning member for the Aussies who was part of the Olympics in 1996 in Atlanta. The best ever Australian finish at the Olympics was 19th in the all-around, so she's got a little something to shoot for.
Well, this event so far has had already 2 misses by 2 previous teammates. Brooke Walker, Alana Slater have both fallen off the balance beam. This is crucial.
Introducing floor exercise, Elvire Desart, representing France.
4 apparatus in use most of the time simultaneously. That's why you'll hear announcements, you'll hear music. You've just got to somehow block it all out.
Remember, Australia, one of the 6 teams who has a legitimate shot to qualify to the team finals. Got to pick it up a little bit, though.
We've talked about Peggy Liddick, the coach, the American coach of the Australians. I think after those first couple of vaults, she had her work cut out for her to get this team to forget that and get back on track.
This is a great set, just the dismount.
Every time it looks like they've got it back under control.
That hurts. 3 falls.
Peggy, remember, last year they took a major step, 5th at the World Championships. It looked as though they were set up for this Olympics.
Just anticipated this landing a little too soon. Needed to hang on. That's a 5/10 deduction.
Without
Well, gotten a great score. That
you put 5/10 on that, it's just under 9.7. Ling Jia, meanwhile, gets highly rewarded by the judges. She gets a 9.812. That's the highest.
Teams who has a legitimate shot to qualify to the team finals. Got to pick it up a little bit, though.
We've talked about Peggy Liddick, the coach, the American coach of the Australians. I think after those first couple of vaults, she had her work cut out for her to get this team to forget that and get back on track.
This is a great set, just the dismount.
Every time it looks like they've got it back under control.
hurt. 3 falls.
Peggy, remember, last year they took a major step, 5th at the World Championships. It looked as though they were set up for this Olympics.
Just anticipated this landing a little too soon. Needed to hang on. That's a 5/10 deduction.
Without
Well, gotten a great score. That
you put 5/10 on that, it's just under 9.7. Ling Jia, meanwhile, gets highly rewarded by the judges. She gets a 9.812. That's the highest score we have had in competition here at the Superdome today. Elise Ray looks like she is buckling up for her next performance on the vault on a shoulder that she thought popped out. We'll see. Elise Ray has been examined by a doctor, the team trainer, and she looks as though she is shaking off whatever happened inside that shoulder of hers. Parents, Ellen Bill and Bella Caroli, went down to the floor, talked to Kelly Hill, and here she's going to take a pounding twice on the vault.
And you know, she's actually not even going to water down her vault. The number indicates that she's going for her toughest vault, the double Yurchenko.
Tim, how much stress is on a shoulder either side on a vault like that?
Well, that's remarkable because the pounding that you get into your shoulders, the object, Al, is to thrust your body into the horse as hard as you can so you're like a super ball and you bounce off of the horse up into the air. Look at this. She'll throw her arms in and jettison her body up into the air. That's what she's supposed to do. You're just supposed to have a good shoulder when you're doing it.
And it didn't even affect her on that vault. That was beautiful.
Mom and Dad thinking that's a good sight.
But I got to tell you, I have seen Elise, her improvement lately on vault has been every day. You see her, she looks a little bit better. She can do that better.
It's what she nailed her national championship with.
Only the 3rd time in competition.
Same vault. There you go. A little bit more jump off that horse. Got a little of the fear out of the way on the first one.
The American team showing a lot of toughness. Jamie Dancher hobbled a couple of days ago. She's out here competing. Just one rotation ago, Elise Ray didn't look like she'd be able to keep going.
Had a lot of power going into the 2nd vault. There's the double twist. Just opened up a little bit too late. Go, Kristen!
9.45. Elise Ray's doing my job. I'm supposed to say Krista Maloney is next. Our first look at the 2-time national champion. Kristen's coach is Donna Strauss. She's up in the crowd watching literally on the edge of her seat.
Same vault we just saw from Elise Ray, the double twisting Yurchenko.
And she can do this easily.
Whoa, little quick.
Oh.
Boy, little quick off the horse, shoulder angle.
Now, wait a minute. She heard something, too.
Well, Kristen has some injuries in the past, has a titanium rod in her lower leg.
That's
always
always
a stress
taped.
fracture that hampered her for years. Finally had it fixed. Nothing hurts worse than landing a vault like that. We call it short in gymnastics.
Looks like she's favoring her right leg, but not only is her shin taped like it always is because of that surgery, Tim, but that left ankle is taped as well. So bad leg stuff going on right now for Kristen Maloney.
And if she's going to do this, she's got to get it together because this is a big vault.
Yeah, she needs to go all out.
These athletes make it look so easy at times, but if she's not in the game, that's when really bad things.
Through the tears.
There you go. Runs fine.
Oh.
And now she's
Can you believe it?
That's the way. You can do it. You never give up. Come on, you can.
That's awesome. You okay?
Well, there's the two ways of looking at it. Elise Ray said that was awesome, and Jamie Dancher came over and said, "You okay?"
First ball where she landed so short. Reaching
Look
back.
at that left hand actually misses the horse.
And that, you cannot get up in the air like you need to. Hit that floor like that, and everything just crunches together.
Remember, the USA needs every score it can get. 9.55, well-deserved on the second ball. That averages out to a 9.225, so she saves it. But Krista Maloney shows us once again she is tough, tough, tough.
From the International Broadcast Centre in Sydney, Australia, here is Bob Costas.
Very impressive introduction. Wish I had something more to offer. Back to women's gymnastics now. The Superdome resembling something of a hospital ward about now. Ice bags and medics in demand. It's been a struggle for the U.S. Elise Ray and Kristen Maloney injured but still going. Qualifying for the team final, not a certainty at this point. The Americans, with Bella Caroli relegated for the most part to the role of a spectator, are through balance beam, floor, and vault. One more to go, and once again we go to Al Troutwig, Elfie Schlegel, and Tim Daggett.
Qualification is the one day you get in the Olympic Games. You must be successful today to move on. Jamie Dancher looks like she's holding back a lot here. The United States has moved on in this first day of competition to the uneven bars. This is one of Jamie's strengths. Even with the injured ankle a couple of days ago, she was able to do the uneven bars. The United States has sent up Tasha Schweikert. Guys, what do you think is going on here?
Well, I was really surprised that Jamie wasn't in the lineup for bars, especially how she performed in podium training. She really wanted to do it in the meet, but Tasha, she did her job for the team on the balance beam.
She has a great look, international look on the uneven bars. 15 years old, once again competing in her first major, even remotely close to an Olympic competition. Double layout.
Does her job again.
Bella Caroli loves the fact that she gets better every week. She's only eligible to compete because she was born prematurely. She will turn 16 in the month of November, and the fact that she was born early allowed that to happen. Had she been born on time, she would have been 16 in the year 2001. And thinking about Athens. But certainly a strange removal of Jamie Dancher from the uneven bar lineup.
Beautiful dismount here. Nice position in the air. And the thing that caps it off, what you need to do to bring in that big score, stick the landing.
Mom Joy in from Las Vegas. Last-minute travel plans. Bella Caroli. Okay, that'll keep the United States #2 behind China.
And I tell you, I haven't seen him smile like that too many times today.
Not for the day the United States has had, but a good score for Tasha Schweikert. Pressure still on Australia. And now Alana Slater. Currently they're in third. Some controversy on this song. It's the theme song for Qantas Airlines, which is not the official Olympic airline. That's Ansett. They filed a protest, and basically it was decided, look, Alana Slater is allowed to express herself creatively. Here we go.
The music's called I Still Call Australia Home.
Finally, Australia is doing to the crowd what they wanted to do from the beginning. Get them into it. Hey, you know what, Alana Slater? Life owes you a few moments like this.
Feels a little bit like 4 years ago in Atlanta. What a beautiful routine. Such a difference when you go out there and perform the exercise.
Back to China. Ling Jia. Quick note. Kui Yuan injured her knee earlier, withdrawn from the rest of the competition today. If China advances and her knee is okay, she can return.
And so far, the Chinese gymnasts have been hitting on balance beam. Ling Jia is world champion here.
Guys, when was the last time you saw China put this many good routines together? Forget the injuries for a moment.
Well, the thing that's surprising is they really didn't look this good in training. They struggled remarkably. You saw it on vault today, but they really struggled in training on vault, and they struggled on floor as well. The difference today is they hit floor. That's why they're in this position.
The feeling is that the Chinese women don't feel the pressure of the Chinese men, that they have to absolutely have gold or nothing.
Oh, that is beautiful.
And as I said before, this team has been looking solely at individual athletes on specific apparatus like Ling Jia on the uneven bars or even the balance beam for those gold, silver, or bronze medals.
But they can get it done as a team. They are the current bronze medal team at the most recent World Championships. It was held in Tianjin, China.
For exercise, Lisa Skinner, representing Australia.
Always disconcerting when the home team gets announced on floor exercise when you're getting ready to dismount the beam.
That's a great set.
Well, the Chinese have taken a few lumps today, but overall it's smiles and they lead. Alana Slater's score a 9.625. So the cheer was well worth it. Ling Jia 9.762. Remember, the Russians and the Romanians and state-of-the-art gymnastics still to come. It's the final rotation for the United States. Day one of women's gymnastics. Top 6 teams advance to the team finals. Amy Chow on the uneven bars, and it's been an uneven day for the United States.
But they have been hitting their bar routines. Amy Chow has had an outstanding all-around competition so far. Remember, she's the silver medalist from Atlanta.
Lot of intricate Stalter elements. She invented this one right here.
Mr. Grip.
Big deduction.
The United States only led Australia by 1.5 tenths. And the feeling here is, crunching the numbers and trying to figure out things, is that China, the U.S., Australia, one of these teams will be disappointed.
Goes wrong for Amy on this release skill. Doesn't quite get her left hand all the way around the bar. You see her jumble it right there. Loses some momentum. Has to stop like that. And when you do that, those mean judges take 5/10 of a point every time.
And her coach, Mark Young, is watching from the stands, and he's thinking, darn, Amy doesn't get another shot at making the individual event finals.
And then, of course, there's the team consideration. Amy Chow gets a 9.4. Considering the major deduction for her mistake, there was a lot of potential there for the United States, but they don't get it all. Well, if you want to test your shoulder one more time, Bella Caroli will watch it happen for Elise Ray. Earlier in floor exercise, she felt something pop, she said, but then recovered. Hit 2 vaults. And now she'll be swinging away.
And if there's an event where Elise Ray has a chance to medal, it comes right here on the uneven bars.
She actually has a few versions of this routine. One is a very difficult one that could get her into the event finals, but Kelly Hill said she'll do the easier bar routine. That'll help the team.
Less chance of a mistake.
Gorgeous release skill coming up right here.
Nice exercise. Beautiful. She'll do one more. Dismount, full twisting double layout.
Looking for the stick.
A great routine, but you see that slide on the landing, that's 1/10 of a point, and that might be the difference. As Elfie said, she has a more difficult, more flamboyant, flashy routine she could have done. If she hit that, stuck the dismount, I guarantee you she'd make finals. It is so important. Last thing the judges see before they have to start scratching down on that piece of paper and coming up with your score is she made a mistake.
Yeah, that 1/10 in this type of competition, it's costly.
That doesn't look like it's going to be enough to make finals, I'll tell you.
So Bella Caroli thinks about the day. Certainly things could have been a lot better, especially when you consider the standings. China, then the United States and Australia, with plenty of talent still to come. The powerhouses, Romania and Russia. The top 6 teams advance to the team finals. So the United States takes the long journey to Sydney, Australia. Now they have to sit and wait to see how it all plays out.
My fans say that I am a diva.
Svetlana Khorkina.
I don't mind.
Елена Rodunova.
I'm not afraid of my coach Arkayev. We have a saying in Russia. If you are afraid of the wolf, don't go into the forest.
Елена Zamolodchikova.
I am stubborn and like to have my own way. This helps me when I compete.
It's time for Russian gymnastics. They come with edge, style, and depth.
Russian national coach Marina Balashenka said, these children, they come to us, and together we make a piece of art. This is our life's work.
Katerina Lobaznyuk.
The Russians on floor exercise, it's a show. They pay so much attention to the selection of the music, the choreography, everything just works so beautifully together.
But it all comes together because each one of these young ladies is coached by someone who has most likely found them at a very young age, and together they work together. In this young lady's case, it was Valery Dianov who found her, who brought her to Siberia, who made her a champion, and who also made her an artist.
And Tim, the judges liked it as well. Yekaterina Lebazniuk gets a 9.612, another big number for the Russians. And big numbers are expected for the next performer on floor exercise, Elena Zemlячкова.
She was third all around at the World Championships last year. She's looking to advance into the top 36, but it's difficult on this Russian team. They have 4 all-arounders. Only 3 can go.
So, Elfie, based on what you're talking about how many can go to the all-around final, that mistake there could cost her.
Yeah, as I said, it's competitive on this team, and that dismount, that final tumbling pass, they're going to take a tenth or 2.
And we're not done looking at the best of Leonid Arkayev's Russian team here in Sydney. I'll take the liberty and call her what her friends do. Zamo gets a 9.662. Now, that's a very solid score, but the Russians are a very solid team. Yelena Prodanova, at the age of 20, certainly brings a sense of strong style to her gymnastics. And the Russians, if they send 3, will probably be looking at this score to determining what happens to Yelena.
Yeah, this is a brand new floor exercise. She's known for her powerful tumbling. This is to the music Mission Impossible 2. It's a great exercise. exercise, the total package, but you know, she does take one step out of bounds. That's a 10th.
But the thing that's so great is the Russians, they get there so many different ways. That routine totally different from the last one. The one before that completely different from the one we saw first. Tremendous variety. Really nice to see.
These scores that they put up so big will not carry over to the next round. That's the good news for the competition.
There was a little concern when she came to this competition with an injured foot. Arkayev was a little bit worried about the floor exercise and all the heavy tumbling. There's the 10th that I spoke of, the out of bounds. Every time you do that, it's 1/10.
Yelena Prodanova scored 9.637. That moves her ahead of Zamolodchikova. So if Svetlana Horkina can beat Zamolodchikova as well, Zamo is out.
Introducing to floor exercise, Svetlana Horkina, representing Russian Federation.
Routine. What a great show.
Who is going to touch these women?
Well, Al, if they do what they're capable of, nobody. I tell you, if this sport, if it's done right, sometimes you forget you're even watching an athletic event. You get pulled in, and sometimes maybe even the judges get pulled in a little bit, because look at this right here. Nobody noticed.
Out by at least 3 inches. Svetlana Horkina, 9.762. Tonight, the results were for their country, about moving with them onto the next step. But if you could grab a little something for yourself, all the better. On the first place Russian team, 2 Yelenas fought for their country, but also battled for a chance to compete in the all-around. Yelena Prodanova was less than 0.2 better than her friend, Yelena Zamolodchikova. Being third in the world didn't get Zamo the number that she needed. Happy for her teammate, but not so for herself.
For team, Russian team, I'm glad, but for myself, it's sad.
Russia dominates with elegance and grace. Second place, Romania, strong and steady. For the United States, it was a day of grit and fight, pride and promise. They're in. Australia, the home team, lived a nightmare at the start. Their fate for the 6th and final spot depended on Spain. Peggy Liddick watched and waited as Spain kept it close. So close that if Esther Moya stuck their very last vault, Australia was out. The women's team final in 2 nights.